There are differences that, and it leads to, I think, interestingly enough, preferences that people have for them. I think some people are C.S. Lewis fans more than Tolkien fans in a way, even though they're both great. It's a bit like, I know Father Gregory and I have done one on Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, I think, before. And Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, you tend to be one or the other, although you recognize, like I'm a Dostoevsky fan, but I recognize the brilliance of Tolstoy. And there are passages in Anna Karenina that are just impossible to neglect. And similar, so I'm more of a C.S. Lewis man myself, although I love the Lord of the Rings. It was read to me, my mother read to me Lord of the Rings when we were growing up. But I'm more of a C.S. Lewis man. But I suspect you're more of a Tolkien man, although you respect C.S. Lewis, but I could be wrong.
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
Yes, you intuited rightly how this conversation was going to go.
Yeah, I figured
because
so.
you know your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's really jump into this here and kind of unpack it. So when we say Tolkien wrote an allegory and C.S. Lewis wrote an allegory, what do we mean?
Yeah, so allegory, of course, is some symbolic representation or a story about something else that's referring to it, has a sign value to it. So their stories are saying one thing and directing us to another. And the interesting point, of course, is how far away that direction is. You could think of it as sometimes a C.S. Lewis criticism of Tolkien would be, you're asking me to turn my chair around to see what I'm supposed to see, whereas Lewis just asks you just to kind of wander your eyes just a little bit. Of course, Tolkien would come back and say, well, why don't you, if you're making it such a slight move in allegory, why not just say it outright? Like, why give it the cover of anything?
Right.
Like, what's the art of that? You basically took the Christian truth and then just kind of changed a human for an animal, like Aslan for Christ. Whereas instead, you want to see the deeper kind of realities. That's another way, I suppose, is how close to the surface are the deeper realities to be. You could have Lewis be on the more Aristotelian side of things, of a kind of the forms are right here, they're present, we're looking at them. Whereas maybe there's a more Platonistic sense, looking away from the form, from the things, the story of the narrative, to the real eternal truths that are behind that. And that's again distance and depth.
So one thing that gave me a deeper appreciation for Lewis, and this is a book which I highly commend to listeners. It was really fantastic work, done by Michael Ward, published by Oxford University Press. So this is a serious book in 2008. It's been around for a bit, and this book has a very particular thesis about the nature of the Chronicles of Narnia, which is very interesting. So an allegory broadly, right, as Father Bonaventure was referring to, is that there's something fantastic, a story, a poem that can be interpreted so as to reveal a hidden meaning, and that something is going to come to light. And often that meaning in an allegory is moral or political. Okay, and in Lewis's sense, people have always said that meaning was the gospel, and this is based on, of course, the Aslan Christ figure in the Chronicles of Narnia. Okay, and I don't think any of that is incorrect. I think this is very true. So Michael Ward's book, Planet Narnia, though, advances a new thesis, which is based on a work of C.S. Lewis on literary criticism called The Discarded Image. And in that work, C.S. Lewis presents a view of the medieval cosmos. And in a nutshell, what Michael Ward argues is that the Chronicles of Narnia, each book is based on a medieval conception of the cosmos, and each book symbolizes that conception's understanding of a particular planet.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a very long sentence. But the medievals had such a rich understanding of the universe that the planets weren't just like things floating out there in space. They were personalities.
Yeah,
the medieval cosmos is very, very rich, and a whole way of understanding the world was inherent in and lurking behind the understandings of the different planets.
Father Bonaventure, if you had to choose between getting Warby Parker glasses, subscribing to a YouTube channel, or flossing your teeth, what would you choose?
Oof. I guess, to be honest, subscribing to a YouTube channel.
See, folks, it's not as bad as flossing your teeth or getting Warby Parker glasses. Please subscribe to Godsplaining. Cheers.